Hi, this is Shilpa here. So a few months back, I met this homeopathic doctor from India when he was on his way to a conference. So he graduated around 27 years ago from the same medical school that I did, but instead of practicing in Mumbai as most of my colleagues did, he decided to practice in a small village in Goa. So his own struggles in establishing that practice really brought back memories from my own rural clinic. Okay, but what was fascinating to hear that after that intense period of struggle, he eventually went on to build a highly successful practice treating severe advanced pathologies exclusively with homeopathy. So I'm talking about Dr. Ashok Borkar. So he regularly works with patients that most of us would not even consider taking on, like conditions such as multiple myelomas, acute renal failures, chronic pancreatitis, pyelonephritis, avascular necrosis of the femur, cerebral infarcts, renal sarcomas, the list just goes on and on. However, what I realized that he did not really use one specific approach, right? In fact, he used a spectrum of well-known approaches that we all know, right from Hahnemannian approach, to Compton-Burnett, to Bogers, to Bonninghausen, right until sensation approach. But the beauty was he did not use them the way most of us do. He has tweaked each approach and he implements them in such a way that they give him consistent cures in these so-called incurable cases. He calls it the pathological factor in his prescription, which is quite interesting. And what I found that he actually chose an approach to suit a patient, and he does that innately. He's completely unaware of the stages template and the way I do things or my students are doing things, but there are things I know that can increase his practice in a big way, and yet he's creating these marvelous cures in these so-called incurable conditions using the pathological factor that I was so eager to learn and implement from him. So you see, we were thrilled to meet, share stories, experiences, and we resonated on so many different levels. And having practiced in larger cities for most of my life, I've never really been around practitioners who excel at resolving such gross pathologies with homeopathy day in and out in their clinics. Even when I worked in that rural clinic, there was no practitioner around who I could brainstorm with because most of them were not working with the types of cases that I did. I was like on my own, trying to find my own way, looking back at the masters, like Burnett's and Bogers and Bonninghausen, but I was on my own. And today I work with people who are some of these incredible world-leading homeopaths, and they have this astonishing success rate in their clinics. People like Jeremy Sher, Isaac Golden, Dr. Joe Sankaran, but their practice is not focused around treating advanced pathologies every day. Even if they do encounter severe conditions, occasionally their clients would almost always have access to conventional medical care. That's the way of the modern world, right? So the bulk of the practice of most of the successful practitioners in homeopathy today is still around functional, emotional, psychosomatic conditions. So the idea that you can resolve such severe conditions predominantly or exclusively through homeopathy in certain parts of the world without much access to conventional medicine with such consistency, with such consistency is amazing, it's mind-boggling and really absolutely inspiring. So it's not that a practice that cures incurable conditions is better than a practice that cures functional emotional conditions. But just talking with Dr. Borkar, it just reset my idea of what the possibilities are with homeopathy. It expanded my thinking and my mindset and how we sometimes, limit our potential of what we can offer with homeopathy to our patients based on our preconceived ideas and our thinking patterns. But then, once I came home, I got this thinking that if I had a time machine and if I go back 10 years into the past and if I sit down with my current self, then I could think that what I'm doing today is inconceivable too. It's almost unbelievable because the size of my global business, the rate of success I enjoy, the types of conditions I treat with absolute confidence today, the impact that I make in the world with my mentoring, with my training on tens of thousands of practitioners through my academy would have been inconceivable to my 10-year-old self or 10-year ago self, right? Just as unbelievable as thinking about these impossible cures that this practitioner is creating in his clinic. So the number of pathologies he cures with homeopathy is way beyond mine or any other practitioner that I know. And some of the conditions he resolves seems beyond the scope of homeopathy, or at least to my logical medical brain. It's almost unbelievable. But then what I do now would seem inconceivable to me 10 years ago. And that's the way it works. So if you're looking at me possibly, or if you're looking at one of your teachers, then it may seem that what they're doing today is really inconceivable. But if you put in the work that needs to be done, and it's just not doing any work, it's following the process, the right system, the right method, the right strategy that they use. And if you're putting one foot in front of the other, then you will continually get better. You can achieve amazing things with your homeopathy. And all you need to do is suspend your disbelief and get started. So I forget who said this, but most people overestimate that what they can do in the next day or the next week or the next month or even the next year. So in short, they overestimate their capabilities in the short term, but the way we underestimate their capabilities in the long term. And when I do these videos for you each month, I always have some videos on your long-term vision and impact with your homeopathy. It's not just the short-term results. Do this or do that and you will cure that. I mean, you will never see me teaching just approaches and methods. These are cool tactics and these are cool approaches and strategies, and there are lots of them out there, and I know they work, and I sometimes show you some case studies to help you understand a particular approach better. But for me, the big picture strategies will help you win over the long run. But it's knowing and trusting that you can create something amazing with your homeopathy. And if you keep the focus on getting better, and if you understand it's a long game, you will win with your homeopathy. So will I have a practice that deal only with pathologies in 10 years? I don't know. Do I just want to work with only incurable cases on the borderline of homeopathy? Probably not, or maybe so. But meeting Dr. Borker reset my idea of the amazing possibilities that homeopathy can offer, and just reflecting on how far I have come in my own journey. So why don't you reflect on how far you have come? Take that, project it into the future, and you will see what your life and your practice will become. So this is Shilpa Boraskar. If you're watching this on my blog, scroll down and leave me a comment. Tell me where things could go for you with your homeopathy. Not the next month, but say 5 years or even 10 years down the track. Tell me, and love to read what you have to say.